You're listening to the Comic Crusaders podcast. I am your host, Al Mega, CEO of Comic Crusaders and Undercover Capes. In this show, I'm sitting down with creators from all walks of life to talk about inspiration, process, the lessons they've learned, and a whole lot more.
Wepaaaa, this is your boy Al Mega. Welcome to a brand new Comic Crusaders podcast. That's right, baby. Today, we talking some dope comic books, indie comics from an amazing publisher. There's an amazing creator. This person we have on that is a graphic novelist, writer, creator. He has the most cowboy name I've ever heard in my life, in my career right now, in the 484 podcast. Let me introduce this legend in the making. The writer with the quickest pen in the West, the one, the only Mr. Dakota Brown.
I'm doing well. I love that. Yeah, I like the moniker of the most cowboy name. I think my name actually came from a game show my mother saw it one day. It was like somebody named Dakota showed up on The Price is Right or something like that. That's where it came from. But I'll get into my Southern twang as a Chattanoogan and Southerner. Not a lot of cow poking around here, but we're on the rodeo circuit.
Oh, but there's cows there, I'm sure.
Yeah,
I'm when I see cows. Don't worry.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's like a hop, skip, and jump between where I live and the city proper. It's a lot of cows. It is less boys, more cows.
I got chickens and goats next door that keep me up in the morning when I start my early shift. So don't you worry, I understand. Right? So I'm in Mass, folks. Yeah, ain't that far. That's still like it's crazy, but I enjoy it anyway. So Dakota, talk to me, kiddo. Welcome to the Comic Crusaders podcast. And two questions. First, where you from originally? And then of course, the most important question you've ever be asked in your whole life, bro. Your whole life. What is the first thing in fandom, all of fandom, that you fell in love with?
Oh wow. That's a tough one because it's we'll start with where I'm from. Born and raised Chattanooga, Tennessee. It's the the center of the Bible Belt. It's kind of a blue sphere and a sea of red. So you get a lot of all walks of life here. It's a very artistic community, and it ended up being. So there's a lot of arts and culture. So I was lucky enough to get into that with theater, the big theater presence here. So I come from a theater background. So it's been fun throughout my life. But first fandom, that's tough. I was born in 87. And I mean, obviously, the biggest fandom you can see is not very much in focus, but this is my Turtles. Well, it's my Ninja Turtles collection, some art sales, some sales from the comics. Figures all around. The ones that my son, who's 2 and getting into it, hasn't, walked off with at the moment, are here. But
bro,
it's either...
don't scare me with kids. There was a kid here in my crib not too long ago, and he came into my office room, and I have shelves full of toys.
Oh yeah,
this kid put on a smile from ear to ear, and all I saw in slow motion was this type. I was like, no,
yeah,
oh
yeah. I was pretty strategic with where I put like the big number figures are kind of like up high, but the ones that are more playable are on the bottom where he can reach. But I guess that's it. I guess it's got to be Turtles. That was my first one. Either that or Ghostbusters, just because that was the era. There's a lot of overlap there, but whether or not.
The Ghostbusters from the movie or the real Ghostbusters with the gorilla? Remember that one?
Oh yeah. So I did see some of the original Ghostbusters with the gorilla, with the Ghost Hunters, not the sitcom it was based off of, but I saw some of the cartoon. But it was the real Ghostbusters. It was Ray and Peter and Venkman and Egon. With Turtles, it was the movies that really did it for me. Secret of the Ooze is just. That's my bread and butter. That's my comfort. It's so goofy, but still, it's got that Jim Henson puppets to it. It's got action. Kino's in it. I miss him. Need him back. I don't know. It's just a lot of fun. But yeah, I would have to say Turtles.
It was such an unexpected hit at the time because I remember I was in high school when it dropped in the movies, and all the kids were talking about it the weekend after it dropped. But I mean, and like awe. Like, holy shit, this looks so dope. I mean, for its time, it did, you know?
Yeah, I mean, even now, I think it was the highest grossing, the first one at least, the 90 movie was the highest grossing independent movie up until like the mid 2000s for years and years. And honestly, I mean, it's that Jim Henson touch. I'm a huge Muppets fan in general, or Jim Henson in general, and him having the control over the animatronics on the suits is just, it's aged perfectly. There's a couple of moments where you can see like a mouth inside the mouth, like a human mouth.
I've seen those memes. They're like,
but I mean, like altogether, it's still pretty perfect, honestly.
Yeah, like stop trying to ruin that movie. Who cares? You know, stop it. Anyway, so all right. So in your geekdom growing up, did you have a tribe, or were you the lone wolf type of nerd?
You know, I guess I would have to say lone wolf. It wasn't anything I really bonded over with anybody. Coming from like a very, southern city, the biggest fandoms are like sports fandoms, and I never really got into it myself. I hold no allegiance. One day when like the football wars occur and I'm in the wastelands, the first football team to pick me up from the wasteland is who I'm holding allegiance to. But I mean, everybody liked everything. It was that era of like, here's all these action figures and here's all these shows based on the action figures. This huge, amalgam of properties. So we would all just like float from one to another on a daily basis. But never, I don't think I ever really sat down with a friend and was like, so you want to talk about Donatello? You want to talk about Baxter Stockman?
Man, did we ever have fucking nerd arguments about battles? And then we even trying to make our own comic back in the day. This stuff, yeah, it was cool though. We have. I wonder if he still has them. My homie, but it was fun back in the day. I had a tribe. Luckily enough, I had a tribe.
Oh, that's good to hear.
And we also had comic book stores locally. You know what I mean? So it's like we had places to go to enjoy our fandom. All you need is $5. You could come home with almost 20 comic books. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
For 50 cents a quarter. You know what I mean? Like, come on, son, you crazy? I love it. Anyway.
Yeah, every once in a while, like a local comic store will have a like a dollar bin sale where everything's a little bit lower, and it still has that feel to it. Where you're
Massachusetts Rubber Chicken Comics does this all the time, and they put good books in there. Let me tell you, I actually look for the most beat up on purpose because I like to do furniture decorate with comic panels and stuff.
Oh, I love it. That's awesome.
Yeah, so when they're really old and beat up, that's the only time I disrespect. That's it. I put you out of your misery. You know what I mean?
Oh no, I mean, but you're putting the love from the previous readers into that art you're doing. So I love it. I love a good beaten up comic and a beaten up just book in general because it's it was well loved and well enjoyed.
My first comic is up on the wall. The spine is tore up. I think it's on its last staple, but I have it in plastic. That's the one beat up comic, and it has a crease down the middle because used to fold it. In back pocket.
Yeah, this is I keep mine on my my whiteboard. This is no cover whatsoever. This was I've got a few different versions of it. This is it's Marvel Tales 247.
That's your first.
Yeah, the first, I don't know where it came from. It might have been my dad's. He might have bought it for me. It was a few years before I was born when it was released. But it was well loved, well read. There was an advertisement right before this page for a Lucky Charms candy, like a gummy candy that no longer exists. And it was so well loved. I've got 3 different versions of it now. I've got it's a reprint of Marvel Team Up Annual 6.
Yeah.
Because that's what Marvel Tales always was. It was just a reprint of a previous title. But I've got so many copies of it because I just treasure it. It's Cloak and Dagger, New Mutants, Spider-Man. It's a pretty perfect individual story. Wolfsbane gets shot in the head. It's wild.
Oof. I only got my OG here, of course, and then I went to a shop in Queens once, and it actually had the whole Christ Star run, 1 through 12.
Oh, wow.
For $12, $1 a book. I said, hell yeah, great.
That's awesome. I think Christ Star is back in the Marvel Universe now.
Yeah, they're doing things. I love this character. That's my first comic book going to Puerto Rico. My mom wanted to shut me up because I was being loud at the airport. American Airlines, aging myself.
Oh, wow. It's such a core memory. I like that you remember the airline. You remember the exact situation where you saw your first favorite character.
Oh, absolutely. Just picked it up. So the cover looked dope. So who's this crystal guy? This is girl that looks like she's naked coming through the window. This wizard with claws. Like, what the hell is going on? I mean, here. Let me show you. I love this fucking cover, bro. I love this fucking cover.
Oh, I love the frame,
And
first of all.
this is of course, I gotta take care of her.
Oh yeah, it's beautiful. 60 cents. I love it. I love that you started on number 2, so you probably got that first page synopsis from issue 1.
Yeah,
so you got the whole story.
Look how beat up that spine is. You know what I mean?
Oh, I mean that's well loved. That's love beat up right there.
And then the line down the middle.
Oh, I love it. I love that you still like have that and treasure it.
Oh yeah, even my mom is surprised. I said, "Yeah, Ma, one thing you didn't get to throw out. Thank God." Yo, moms be throwing shit out, yo. I don't understand. Did you go through this problem, Dakota, with your collectibles? One day you in school, you come home, you're trying to go check out your favorite thing, and you're like, yo, I should have I had it here. What happened?
No, mine's the exact opposite, where it's just like things I never knew I had. I now that my son's 2, so when he was born, my toy box, which of course is a Ninja Turtles toy box, came my way, and looking through it, of course there's the Turtles, there's the Ghostbusters and Star Wars and all the the classic figures, but like a lot of unidentifiable non-brand like Dollar Tree nonsense things that I don't remember, the things that have obviously no monetary value, but have no value to me because there's no memories there. I don't remember these at all, but they're there, so everything was kept.
I love the Green Army men back in the day. They used to buy me those motherfuckers with the cars and little tanks and shit, put up battle scenes between the green. Green.
Yeah, the dinosaur packs like that are a godsend because my son's really into dinosaurs as well as everything else he's into. So like a quick trip to a lower price store for a under $5 pack of dinosaurs, and suddenly you're parent of the year.
Bring it. Wait until he finds classifieds though. All right. Anyway, so let's get into getting into this creative journey of yours. Like when did you start itching to create? How did that all happen? And when did you first dive in on a pro level?
Well, like I said, Chattanooga's a very like arts friendly city. And I come from a theater background. I studied at a theater conservatory here that's based off of the New Actors Workshop. It's a satellite of the original school. And that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to perform on stage on some level. I got really into improvisation through that, studied at Second City and just for like a summer, and then under a fella named Keith Johnstone, who was the improv guru. And I still do it on a semi-professional level here and there, but eventually I really got into playwriting because there's only so many times a person will come to your improv show, as any improviser will tell you, and obviously there's not a career in improvisation necessarily. Yeah. It's a very community centric fun time, but
whose line is it anyway? You ain't getting nowhere, right?
Yeah, that's it. Or and I did long form improv, which wasn't the games necessarily, these long narrative stories, which audiences may or may not like, depending on if they go into whose line and then go to this. It's a very different thing. But I got into playwriting, had a few plays in local competitions and published, but then got really, really into writing for animation at my wife's suggestion. She saw that Frederator Studios, who did Chalk Zone, Adventure Time, Fairly Odd Parents, all these incredible cartoons, just had an open call for creators. So I got in contact with them, and through the course of that, I ended up in Burbank pitching to Nickelodeon and Disney and all these places with these. It was fantastic. Nothing came of it necessarily.
Wifey for kicking the butt to do that.
Honestly, I think about it every day, and I thank her every day. But yeah, it was.
Wait, I just want to say this though before we move on. Isn't it wonderful to have a supportive partner in your creative endeavor? How important did you gauge that in your journey?
It's something I am very aware of every single day, because I come up with these cockamamie ideas and these whether it's a story or like pitching this place or that, and I mention it to her. She's my absolute best friend in the world. She was my best friend before we even started dating, and I always expect like a retort of, well, that's a bit silly, or let's think of something else. But it's always a very supportive answer of, hey, cool, let's do that. Hey, cool, try it. With Death Comes for the Toymaker, it was a big financial I wouldn't say burden, but a big financial investment to get 144 pages of art or whatever it ended up being. It's still a yes. It's still a let's go for it. Maybe with a little bit more hesitance than usual, but not for very long. It was a very quick, loving support. But yeah, she just not only just agreeing with my weird ideas, but somehow like searching them out and finding them for me sometimes in the case of finding Frederator. But yeah, even though nothing came of that, it was a lot of connections I made and a lot of IPs I ended up creating for animation because of her. Ooh. And again, nothing sold. They're all just like on my Dropbox. But
it don't matter. It's the fact that people don't understand sometimes how important the networking part of this business is.
Like, oh yeah, 100%.
Even if you don't accomplish a show, but you did accomplish something, because when you get that connection, that shit is limitless, baby.
Yeah.
People gotta understand that human connection is still the most important thing on the planet, son. And you gotta really connect with people, talk to people, engage with people, and it's fun. I mean, it really does build something special, and this is why I love talking to creators like yourselves, especially when I get to meet y'all in person. I'll give you word. Don't you worry. I'll rattle you. You're like, oh my god, bro.
No, it really is. I don't want to say it's more important or as important than like working on the IP itself as on the creative level, but like getting to know people and getting to know those connections. I was just listening to an interview with Denton Tipton from Magma, who's publishing Death Comes for the Toymaker, and he was just noting the fact that everything they're doing is because of the connections they've made, connections he had at IDW, connections with creators that they had met along the way, and creators almost most importantly with like retailers and distributors. So it's just it's a hard, comics is a hard business. Even I took some IPs I created for animation, turned them into comics, and that's how I got to where I am. But if I were to try to do that on my own and just say, here's my comic, I'll put it on a Kickstarter, put it on Indiegogo, it's a tough business. I love and respect anyone who goes through Kickstarter and does it well. It's amazing. It blows my mind. For anyone who like
that from the very inception of their first, they hit, they've been hitting the marker every time, and how each one is a lesson, and then those are unfortunately those I've spoken to that, hey, the first one, then it goes to, well, I learned this, so let me try this now, on a different platform. But again, isn't it wonderful that as independent creators to have multiple platforms to try and put the project out?
Yeah, it's exciting. I would love to be the guy who's successful at Kickstarter. It's a lot of work. Just all that to say, there's a lot of invisible work that goes into getting these comics in readers' hands, or any media that an audience might not see. And whether you're going through Kickstarter or whether you are a publisher who has all these previous connections, it's with these, there's a long story that led up to this moment. And I can take very little credit for any of those connections. It's going to be all through Magma, who welcomed me in with open arms for Death Comes for the Toymaker, and luckily through their pedigree and their hard work over the years.
You keep mentioning this book.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I think it's time to put it on screen. So, gotta know. You mentioned Magma. How did you guys even connect? So, talk to me the story of the romance of Magma, and in the elevator pitch for Death Comes for the Toymaker, which I read. Phenomenal.
Thank you.
Story, everything. And now that you told me about your background, I feel it. I understand. It's a great story. No wonder I saw it in a very like TV showish type way. I saw it. I saw this in an episode miniseries.
Oh, that's cool to hear. Yeah. So it's the short pitch for it is pretty much in the title. Death Comes for the Toymaker. It's the story of a holiday gift giver who has a deal with the physical embodiment of death to one day a year do the work of death. So it happens to be the same day that he's delivering gifts. So he has his nice list, his naughty list, and his death list. And he's done this for millennia, and it's wearing on him, and his little helpers end up finding a way to get out of that contract and possibly even in a way destroy death. But at the same time, it's also a retelling and direct sequel to the Epic of Gilgamesh. So there's kind of like this A story, B story intertwining, but it's really, flashbacks in current day. But it's hopefully a fun read, a violent read here and there. But
no, it is. It's fun. It's violent. The characterization, the relationship between the two characters on the cover. You know what I mean? As we learn, from the get to the last, like oh shit. Okay, I see what's happening here. Okay, and it's crazy. It's wild. It's an adventure and a half. You do know how to definitely make me feel for characters, because I was carrying it. What the fuck Gilgamesh gonna do now, son? Like you had in spots, but not just him. You had Ndiku, right? Everybody in spots. So I was like, oh shit, okay. How are they gonna deal with these challenges? And it's not just a story. I mean, there's emotions there. There's a lot of human emotion in the story.
Oh, that's good to hear. Thank you for that.
And that's what I was digging at. I did it on one sit through. I didn't put it down.
Yeah, that's a very common review we're getting, is that it's a very quick read, but not necessarily like it's short or whatever.
Quick. It's not quick, in my opinion, but it's enjoyable that you don't notice.
Yeah.
You understand me? Like, you come off the story feeling, oh shit, this is a great story. I feel fulfilled in the story. I definitely would recommend this to someone else. It's a great fucking read, bro. I mean, and your artwork. I mean, look at it. Look at his design work. Holy shit.
Yeah,
bro.
that's all Ryan Cody. I found him through his coloring work. Was going to contact him just as a colorist, and then through his website saw his line work, and it was just gorgeous. So I couldn't not try to get him on.
So you knew he was the perfect match for you from the get.
Yeah, and it's one of those things where everything for this book kind of lined up very easily. I kind of hate to say that, because there's a lot of challenges in comics, and other creators might have some challenges with putting a book out, but this was within a year.
You know why? Because it's meant to be, because this is a good fucking book. That's why. Magma knows what they're doing, bro. Let me tell you.
Yeah, well, I mean, on the front, you asked how we connected, and it was just like, it was a Twitter message, I think, originally, like several years ago. Yeah, because it's back when they were doing, they were an imprint at Heavy Metal, when Heavy Metal was still up and running. I think they're coming back now. But I saw that
when they saw Magma come out through them as a nice imprint, to give us some wild stories. That's what Heavy Metal.
Yeah.
On a nice book, though, outside of the magazine. But now that they're doing on their own, I'm proud of what they're doing. Like,
it was
independent companies, do their thing, be able to elevate.
Yeah, oh yeah, and it was really as simple as like a Twitter message back in those days, and then when they went independent, catching up after I got my rights back from the original publisher. The first issue came out in July of 2023, and then the rest of the series kind of didn't come out. I got my rights back.
Man. Like, what's that process like in terms of time? Without too much detail, like, for you to get your rights back, like, what was that term of time like?
Well, there was a social media kerfuffle in February of this year that kind of led to a lot of creators.
I haven't heard that in a while.
Well, it is what it is. That a lot of creators put in their 2 cents on social media. And after I put in my 2 cents, I was given my rights back, which is, power to the publisher. It's huge. Yeah. Not a lot of creators get their rights back after being published in any capacity. Oh, yeah.
There's a particular company out there that took everybody right, and they're trying to game them. You know what I mean? I won't talk about them now, but yeah, they did some dirty shit, man. And good creators that I know, and it's a shame. Like, why some of these publishers want to just become IP houses and then try to rape a creator? Like,
Yeah,
the
I mean,
creator
it's
is the lifeblood of your company. You fuck with the creator, you got no lifeblood.
true. Yeah, it is true, and I think a lot of it ends up being just like maybe not malicious, but just like negligence here and there. Maybe a who knows, but I got my rights back. I was lucky. That was in February, and then I think in March or April I signed the contract with Magma. It was a very quick process. We had chatted previously, like I said, on Twitter, and then chatted with them in April or March, and they had or April and May rather, and they had the capacity to publish something in the wintertime, in November specifically, and they saw, this completed 6-issue series. Let's turn it into a 6-chapter graphic novel, which is a very easy process. It's all on the design team at that point. And it was one of those just kismet things where it was good timing, lucky timing. I can't say good timing because I didn't have any part in planning this. It worked out magically.
It just worked out. Karma was with you, my friend. So again, this is a fire story. I mean, look at the artistry, look at the panel work, and the story is just dope. And I love, again, your letterer, the difference between when Gilga and Digu talk. You know what I mean? Like, you see the difference in that you get this wonderful story. It's gangster. It's fire. This fucked me up. Flying boar. I was thinking boar's head with wings, bro. What's going on here?
Yeah, that was a very conscious decision to just want a bunch of chimera throughout, and we ended up with just I think I put in 2 chimera throughout, but the world is open for sequels with more chimera. But it's I didn't want, it didn't make sense for this to be a reindeer because it's not a it's a Mesopotamian mythos, so we got to do something a bit Babylonian here, and this is what came out of that. And it's one of those splash pages or single panel pages, depending on the verbiage, that you just turn to and hopefully go, okay, I know this book.
How much research you do? Because then some of the names of the characters here is like, holy shit, bro. These are historic names. God damn, I can't even pronounce half of them.
Yeah. So I was lucky in that my editor at Scout Comics, the original publisher, was Andrea Molinari, who is quite literally a scholar of religion.
I'm going to be speaking to Andrea this week.
Oh yeah, he knows his stuff. He really does. He's got his book, The Shepherd, that has a lot of Egyptian mythos, and he also knew a lot of the Babylonian. So the things that I might get wrong or might not be as respectful to the source material, he would kind of reel me in. There wasn't a lot, but when he reeled me in, and he did a great job of keeping the story in check. But I mean, a lot of that, it comes from just reading different versions of the Epic of Gilgamesh, different versions of the Enuma Elish, which is the origin or the birth story, the creation story, and in Babylonian mythos, and then reading Inanna and the Hulabu tree, who in our version, or in this version, is Ishtar rather than Inanna for various reasons. But it's all there. It's kind of like, I hate to say a forgotten mythology, but it's just because we focus so much on Greek and Norse and all of these more European gods, but all of that in a lot of ways came from Babylon. So I'm
thinking about gods too, but different from a different mythology. I have an idea. Epic. 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 Yeah, but it's also with God. So yeah, I have some right now. I got my brothers reading it right now.
Dope.
Loves it. The other one is taking his time to read it. I'm about to smack him with a ruler like I'm a nun and shit. You better read that shit.
Oh, that's exciting. No, I more gods among the comics just pleases me. It's just like, this is where it's the cradle of civilization, and you see most stories come from this area in a lot of ways. But again, it's kind of invisible to a lot of people because it's just not necessarily taught as much, or at least in my education, we glanced over Babylon. Don't know why. Might be like implications with living in the Bible Belt. Might be just the fact that Edith Hamilton's mythology is such an easy read for a Greek and Roman myth. But all the research it's there in the stories. Andrea brought me in when I strayed too far, but honestly, a lot of it came from the this I'm going to embarrass myself. This DK Eyewitness Encyclopedia of Mesopotamia for Kids. Which I don't know. I mean, if kids are reading this is great. The targeted audience is, I assume, children, but it's in depth. You know, if you can pull
inside anyway, brother.
But I bought a copy. I sent one to Ryan. A lot of the imagery was inspired by what was in there. So Ryan did a great job of taking my goofy words and building a world around it. Pulling from here, but also in the modern day, creating a blend of, you know, Babylon and, you know, what we see in our society, and creating this whole world. And he did me just the biggest favor a creator can do it to another creator. And I cherish every panel he drew, and of course Micah on the lettering breathed life into every character. That
the lettering was beautiful. Again, the line work, everything about this book is gorgeous. So I'm really excited for people to pick it up. And folks, it's, you know, again, it drops on November 6th. That's the diamond code right there. So go ahead, get it on pre-order. Go to your favorite comic shop right now. Put that bad boy on pre-order. Is this also almost around Christmas time? You know what? Maybe buy two. Look at the stocking stuffer for the nerd in your life. They're really gonna like this book because it's so different. And yeah, you know, Christmassy themes, but not really. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, it's different. It's dope. Like you said, Mesopotamian, all this, it's fire. I definitely enjoy it. I couldn't put it down, to be honest. Not many books give me that. Some books I gotta take a break to smoke. You know what I mean? Hey, hold on. No, this one I was like, shit, fuck, I need my tablet. I don't want to leave. So I just kept reading. I smoked minutes before the show, right after the book. All right. I suffered and waited for you. All right, for the Brown verse to finish, because that shit is a fire book. So tell me, I mean, is there anything else that may come out of this universe in the future for Magma, or is there anything else you could tell us that you may be working on?
Yeah. There's a contract that's being signed for another publisher for another book. So all that to say, there's more for me in the future. Can't talk about it too much just yet, but it's very exciting. It's a 4-issue series that's very near and dear to me. It's a co-creation. And I think January is when the first issue should drop. So more to come there. But as far as like Death Comes for the Toymaker, you know, it started as a very different story and then ended up being what it is. And that different story that it was going to be has been rewritten as or replotted as a sequel of sorts. So if people enjoy this and there's enough merit for it, I would love to put out a second volume.
Yes, please. Come on, pick it up and you see what I mean. You're gonna want to know more about the characters in this universe. Trust me.
That's awesome to hear. And that's no smoke, guys. That's
no, it's some real shit. I'm telling you, bro. This is some. I love this book on some real shit. I don't get to read too many books often, and I kind of do mostly, you know, things that I'm doing for the show. Mm-hmm. This one definitely been one of my favorites of the year.
So that's great to hear. Thank you for that.
To be honest, yeah, the Brown verse is real, bro.
I dig it.
All right. So last two questions. Are you doing any conventions? Any, you know, for the remainder of this year, or anything where we could hang out with you and see you in person?
There are plans in 2025. Nothing's concrete at the moment, but I'll be out there. Probably Southeast. I'll try to get out, you know, in other areas. I hope to, you know, share this and future works with, you know, people all over the country. But yeah, 2025, there are plans, but again, nothing too concrete. But if anybody knows of anything, any convention that I should be at, I would love to hear.
No, folks, you better hit them up. You know how easy I've been showing at the bottom. You can follow the code at the Coach Rights, all right? And yes, as it sounds, DUH Coach COAT, all right, UH Rights, right? Apparently somebody took the name, so he dumbed it down like in pronunciation. Duh, Coach.
You know what? I don't know if anybody did take that's my PlayStation name.
That's too funny. That's Mulchin. The only reason I can say his damn last name now is because he told me, "Hey, do what my wife says to everybody." So that's my last name. Like, so that small chin. Oh, okay, that's how you say it. Okay, so yeah, so you just say
that's
it really
awesome.
fast, and that's my last name.
I love it. That's
Right.
fantastic.
He's a great actor, by the way, too, man.
Oh yeah.
And folks, again, that comes for the Toymaker paperback, volume 1. It's a girthy one too. She fat, she thick, it is shelf porn. So buy one for you. And since this drops in November, you know, again, it's Thanksgiving coming up, so maybe you want to take this and give this as a Thanksgiving gift to someone. Hey, thank you. Don't bring up wine. Don't tell them to drink alcohol. Make them read this book. Or of course, then you got Christmas coming up, and there's the perfect stocking stuffer, in my opinion. Now, of course, there's your LCS, but you can also check them out at Magma Comix with an X, mi gente.com. Not just this wonderful book that comes from the Toymaker, but so many others. Magma Comix is killing it in the indie games, so man, to check them out. And a big shout out to my own girl, Melissa, Don't Hire PR, making this happen today. You know what I mean? Check them out. If you're looking for good publicity for comics, you know, if you're out there trying to get your stuff out there, you know, look no further than Don't Hide PR. Wepaaaa, que sepan, all right, Melissa Mazzaros. Dakota, any last words of advice you would give to someone trying to step into the game like you have? Because you've been navigating drama, you know, fucking animation, comics. Like, whoa, bro, what else is coming? Like, what's up, bro? Like, talk to me. Like, what else is coming? But of course, advice. Like, what would you tell somebody trying to step in, especially in this day and age?
Oh yeah, well, as far as what's coming from the future, it's I hope to be in that comic game for a while. Let's do some licensed IPs and some more originals.
Breathe.
But as far as like advice, I think we touched on it. It's all getting to know people. It is who you know, but it's, you know, be nice in emails. It comes down, never burn a bridge. That's kind of my credo. As long as we're being, you know, patient, thoughtful, and kind in our conversations, people will see that and respect it, and the right person will connect with you, and you know, things will happen down the line. It might not be today. It might be, you know, months or years down the line, but just put yourself out there in the kindest way you can, and loving people will find you.
Absolutely. Patience. I mean, you know, gratitude, being humble, and of course, don't be a pyro person and burning those bridges, like he said. That's the last thing. You know, show love, and if it's a no now, it will be a yes later. Just, you know what I mean? Everything you see in Dakota, timing, things just happen. Why? Because it was just the right book at the right time, at the right moment. And that could happen for you too. So Dakota, you're a big boss. Thank you for your time today. I appreciate you. I'll tell you one last time, it's Magma Comix. Check out the website. But of course, most important is this book that comes for the Toymaker, Volume 1. It drops November 6th, 2024, baby. The diamond code is right there. It's also in the show notes. You know, show love for independent creators. This is going to be a big boss, right? I'm telling you. After you read this, you're going to be like, oh, shit. Like, the potential for the stuff you could do. I want to see you do a nice storyline for Marvel. I think you fucking murder that.
Dream. Yeah,
you can murder that shit. And yo, folks, you're all right. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in to all my Crusaders. I appreciate you. Thank you for the time you take to watch us and tune in. You know what it is. Check us out on comiccrusaders.com and on the socials at comiccrusaders. Hasta la próxima, mi gente. Wepaaaa!
Thank you for listening to the Comic Crusaders podcast. If you like the content, please subscribe and turn on notifications. Also, please visit comiccrusaders.com and our extended podcast family over at undercovercapes.com. And also, make sure to download the Comic Crusaders app on the Google Play Store today.